Hello, my name is Dennis Sietsma, Dennis John Sietsma Productions, Homestead, Florida, USA. We're about 30 miles south of Miami, maybe 20 miles north of Key Largo. Today is October 1st, 2024. October 1st, 2024. It's a Tuesday. It's 8:43 a.m. Eastern Time, Eastern Standard Time. This video is about my never-ending project, ongoing project, to improve my 1994 Chevy Astro van that I've owned since new. And I recently installed a Powertrain Products remanufactured engine, and I'm doing more work towards doing the final work on that installation. Let's quit talking and go outside. It's a beautiful morning, glorious here in southeast Florida, just really nice, real pretty, and low chances of rain in the forecast today and tomorrow, so I may be able to put out some herbicide and pick my avocados tomorrow, I hope. And as in yesterday's video documentary about my project, and this is not a full restoration, but I do want to do some body work to it as soon as I can, once I get the remanufactured engine fully installed and the bugs final tuning. And I got little problems I got to sort, like these broken vacuum lines and stuff, and inside the fire damage to the vacuum lines. But for now I'm just going to block the port. And last night, where I left off, is drained the water out of the cooling system, and gonna put the lower hose back on, tighten the clamp, and then fill the system with Prestone coolant 50-50 mix, and then check for leaks, and then move inside the van. I set the timing yesterday, which it was already very close. Now I'm using this Schumacher model SC1280 charger to make sure my battery's fully charged, and it has you can put an equalizing charge on it by hitting that button, and by doing that you reduce the chance of having salvation on the battery. Salvation, or salveration, however you pronounce it, is a normal aging process of a flooded cell battery or an AGM battery. And this says it's a standard battery, is what and it just went in there into on. Okay, there, and it went into the equalizing charge mode, and it says it's a standard battery. And this auto detects a bad battery or an AGM or a gel cell battery, which is why I like this. And it's rated for 15 amps maximum charge. It's 15 amp rapid charger and a 3 amp battery maintainer. And I like battery maintainers for when vehicles, when the batteries are not in use every day. Like battery maintainers. Anyway, I started it and ran it yesterday and set the timing. I didn't have to adjust it. It was spot on according to the mark. I'm going to double check the timing a couple more times, and I'm going to do more work to get this ready for the first road test, which will be the muffler shop to get a muffler installed. It doesn't have a muffler right now. I just got the header bolted up going to the catalytic converter, and there's no obstruction in the converter. And I want to do a little cleanup here on the wiring, make sure I got all the sensors connected. I may have missed one. I got one I couldn't figure out where the connector goes to, what it goes to, so I got to study that a bit. And I want to do some more cleanup on the spark plug retainers, and I may have some I need to run the starter and bottom tap through the #1 cylinder front Front or back? No, back bolt hole. Yeah, I thought a stud went there, but it doesn't. Well, the book shows the service manual's has an ambiguity in the figures. One figure shows studs on number 1 front and back exhaust manifold. Another figure shows stud on the back side of number 1 on the exhaust manifold and on the back side of number 3. Well, obviously number 3 does, because there's a rod. If you see it, it's kind of silver. You know, I got some anti-seize on there by accident, but that's why it looks silver. It's not painted, but anyway, the rod goes there, so it's obvious I need some studs. The old studs are nasty, and I'm trying to get replacements from Napa and No Joy Boy, and the same thing with Rock Auto. And I'm working. I sent Rock Auto a long email and a long letter in the box with the return part saying, dude, this is not even close. This Dorman replacement isn't even close to the GM studs. And in the email I included a photograph of the GM stud. But obviously I'm going to have to go to the Chevy dealer to talk to the parts department to try to get some studs from General Motors, because the ones on eBay Motors are usually pretty good, but I don't know. I think I'd rather get them from the Chevy dealer, or I should call it the GM dealer, because it seems like they're merging all these brands into one dealership instead of having a dealership for each GM brand. So, and yesterday I checked the fuel pressure, and it was a little bit over 55. I'd like it to be a little bit higher, but anything over 55 is good for this fuel injection system. With the engine running, with the engine off, it should be higher. And I checked the vacuum, and the vacuum showed the engine is retarded, even though the timing was spot on according to setting the baseline timing. So all this is tuning, and I see a slight fluctuation in the oil pressure, and that's a new sender. So I'm gonna have to get a mechanical gauge, probably from Harbor Freight, because I ordered one on Amazon and it was junk. It failed the first time I used it, and it had been out of warranty, and I tried to contact Amazon and no joy getting a replacement from them. So gonna have to go to Harbor Freight and try to get a Pittsburgh version of the same thing, and hope it's better than what I got from Amazon. And it was their own brand, you know, so obviously from another country, but anyway, that's what I'm gonna do today, or I plan to do, and my plans change constantly. I wish I could talk. I hope I'm not getting some kind of cognitive problems. I can't seem to talk sometimes. But anyway, or decide what I'm going to say. This is a GT 5000 project, and I found that the choke was full on all the time, and it wouldn't start and run. But it requires the choke to start. So I got to work on these linkages, because I think they're the throttle, and I think they're being obstructed somehow. Either I didn't put it together right. I don't know. I got to work on this later. I can't work on two things at once. I get distracted too easily just working on one thing, between phone calls and emails and computers and yada yada. And the computer I use all the time suffered a motherboard failure, so I'm having to use an alternate computer, and I'm having to set up software and all that. So, but I'm an electrical engineer, electronics engineer, so I think I'll be okay. Thumbs up if anything good here. Thanks for watching. Okay, I'm putting, hello Mr. Iguana. They love to eat the fiberglass. Anybody know a part number for this blanket? Let me know, please. I need to replace this one. The iguanas have been eating it. They love the fiberglass for some reason, to eat it. and to sun themselves here on the front of the van. They're going to be really upset when I put the doghouse back in, because they've been roaming through the van for months now. Anyway, got the coolant in, and this is a farm van, so aesthetics and looks are secondary to function. Gonna work on the ABS brakes eventually, but I need to point something out with the transmission line that I fabricated. I'm not happy. Oop, bigger iguana, get out of here. That's a big one there. They don't like to move. When they get bigger, they get mean. Anyway, look at the clearance between Mr. Iguana. These used to be protected, but there were so many of them in Florida, you can shoot them now, believe it or not. Anyway, this line is almost hitting the cross member, and if I can find a source, people pay attention, if you know a source where I can buy prefabricated transmission lines for this 94 Astro van, please let me know. I couldn't find any, and I looked and looked, and I made a line, but I'm not real happy with it, and I could modify it and make myself happy with it, but I really want prefab lines professionally done eventually. For now, I'll run with these because they work. Mr. Iguana, yeah, somebody going to shoot you when you get big and mean, and the things are destructive. They will eat your roof on your house if you aren't careful. There's a big one. He's hiding in there. He's going to be real upset when I start this engine. Probably going to hurt him. Poor Mr. Iguana. Yeah, they're nasty. They get nasty. They get big. They stand there and hiss at you. Anyway, going to do more work and try to get the iguanas to leave town. I hope.
Okay.
Get the heck out of my engine, Mr. Iguana. You'll eat my wiring.
Wow.
Dang things.
Okay.
I know, the dash needs help. We'll get it baby steps, people. Baby steps. The carpet looks bad.
We got a bunch of wiring. I don't know what that is.
As long as I don't wreck this thing, some idiot hit me or vice. I had a guy head on with an ATV, crossed, wrong way driver, crossed, came straight on at me, and I got him on handy cam. I got a 360 cam. I'll put that up on my YouTube channel eventually. Oh, I love my 360 cam, because if I do have a problem one day with an idiot that thinks they can't die by doing something stupid, I'll have video of it. And the camera's already paid for itself. Some guy hit my vehicle with a forklift and then said he didn't do it, but I had the 4K video on big screen, and the management said, oh, let me find my checkbook. So, anyway, progress, baby step. More work to do. Gonna pause the camera for now. I'll tell you what I did after I do it. Okay, it's 12/26, Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. I'm double checking my work on the cooler lines. The lower cooler line is Sunsong 580 1006. 580 1006. The upper oil cooler line is Sunsong 580 1103, and you got a 50-50 chance of doing it right or wrong on these T40 bolts. As far as the lines go, the upper line is line 200, the lower line is 201, and it has to go through a clamp that goes to the bracket there. Take a good look at that. And I haven't done that bracket yet. And it goes, 201 is on the driver's side and 200 is on the passenger side. And they show that here again in the same higher figure here, with 201 to the lower, going all the 200 on the upper, and going through the clamp to the remote filter adapter. And with, like I said, 201 on the driver's side, which is the lower hose, and 200 on the passenger side, which is the upper hose, to get the polarity right. Now, the adapter is marked with in and out, which, who the hell at General Motors thunk that up? Anyway, this is what you need: this gasket and a T40 driver with a 3/8 drive. It's looking like it's going to rain any time now. Now, in my basket of parts here, we got this that you have to remove from the engine to put the adapter on, and it just screws in. So let's get some work done before it rains. Okay, fans, Astro van enthusiasts, automotive enthusiasts, audience of enthusiasts, Tuesday, October 1st, 12:50 in the afternoon. I'm listening to Derek on Vice Grip Garage. I'm a fan of his show, but man, he does things that are sketchy sometimes. I hope he doesn't get hurt. Derek, be careful out there, man. I would never drive on the road something that's been sitting in a field for 50 years without replacing all of the brake lines and check the steering. I mean, steering and brakes to me is, don't just drive it and see what happens. Okay, now let's move over to the Astro van. I've got the oil lines installed, and I checked the oil level and filled up the coolant till I ran out of coolant. I got to go buy more. It ain't cheap anymore, people. What happened to the days if you spilled some coolant you didn't cry? Anyway, everything's expensive now, and this project just eats money. Everywhere I turn around, it's been bolts and nuts and this and that and gaskets and, oh gee whiz. Anyway, let's go try to start it and look for leaks again. I am really serious about finding leaks, and I'm looking at the grounds on the back of the engine at the service manual. I gotta make a few changes there, but that's with the van on the ground, and it's gonna drive with or without that. And I gotta get that clamp installed as well, but I'll do that a little bit later. For now, the hoses are not hitting anything else or vibrating or what have you, but eventually I got to make sure that I have that clamp on there the way General Motors had it, with that little spacer. Spacer is 208, and I don't know, that looks like that may be a little bit of a challenge to get that apart. Going to use some penetrating fluid, and my favorite is Aerocroil. And I don't like this thing. This did not work. This metal that I kept praising, PT, performance, I don't know. It slips. It's okay for putting it on, but I can't take it off. It says it's 74, 76 millimeter, 15 flutes. I don't know, it doesn't work. I'm going to try to find the receipt and take it back, get my money back. Okay, before I look for leaks, it's on jack stands and a 3-ton jack, and the rear wheels are blocked. So I think it's safe. And I'll put the brake is on too. So let's start it up and look for leaks, see what we can see. And might even have a little bit too much oil. I might have to suck some of that out. I've got a sucker thing that makes good oil suction to pump it out if I got too much. If I could find the right key. There we go. Okay, that's good oil pressure, even with the remote filter, because before I saw it was a little bit lower with the remote filter. Now from a distance I'm going to look for any leaks, and I would like to burp and top off the coolant, but I don't have any more coolant. And I got a thing from Hobby Lobby I should be able to use to splice that hose. And I got coolant in here now. Coolant. And I'm looking for leaks. Now, I'm not going to get under it. I'm just going to look to the side here. I don't like leaks. And by putting stuff underneath here, like plywood or paper, anything to see if anything's leaking. And there's no muffler. So I gotta take it to the muffler shop. I gotta get some good pictures of the labels on the transmission. I've tried and tried, and the pictures just don't turn out good. I'm trying to get all the markings for the documentation and for my research. Now, the engine seeking at idle was a problem from the get-go. But what killed the old engine was not that. What killed the old engine was a valve cover that failed on the right bank at the rear. Oil is supposed to pool at the back and then drain into the engine, and with that hole in there, I was just losing the oil. I wasn't getting enough to the number 6 cylinder of the lifters, and eventually I spun a rod. Alright, that's enough for now. I'm pretty sure it's good. I have a Viper system on this van for the door locks, and I put a new radiator and all new speakers. I got kicker speakers, good voltage, good fuel. Waiting for the cooling system to come up. And what do I got in the way of? Oh, that's why I don't have the vacuum gauge hooked up. Okay, now I got the gauge hooked up. I've done remanufactured engines in the past. On my 72 Vega, I took it out and had machine shop sleeve it in 1977. H.C. Wilcox on the Miami River. 27th Avenue in the Miami River. H.C. was a real good machinist, and he told me I could save that engine and make it better than new by sleeving it, and I did it, and the thing lasted forever after that. Of course, I knew how to work on a Vega engine. It wasn't like a boat engine or a steel block engine, because when you have a aluminum block, open deck aluminum block with a steel head, you can flex it real easy and destroy your lower end. And that's exactly what HC did. He had a rookie mechanic, and he made the guy fix it. Put him through the misery of taking the engine in and out at the shop's expense. Didn't take it out of the man's pay, but made him do it the hard way and learn. Sometimes you have to make mistakes to learn, is what HC told me. And once you get an experienced mechanic, they cost more, so shops usually don't keep experienced people very long. They hire inexperienced people or barely qualified, and then once they get good, they go someplace else. But I'm trying to bring it up to speed, up to temperature, so the thermostat opens, and then next cycle I can top off the coolant and have some confidence that it's been burped. Starting to smoke a little bit because it's getting hot. But good oil pressure. main thing I want is smooth idle. And there's nothing wrong with the CPI fuel injection system as long as you maintain it and you understand how it fails and how it needs to be maintained and repaired. Like anything else, if you understand what your machine is, it's easier to deal with it. But most people today, they whip out the credit card and they get into too much trouble. They just get another vehicle and let other people figure it out. Let the car dealer deal with it. Yeah, they're making the do-re-mi, buddy. Your ignorance is expensive. And I wish I could say I've saved a lot of money by doing my own work, but parts cost too. You keep dumping money into an old machine, but the depreciation on a new machine is something. Alright, well, let's up to 225. Let's see if it goes over 225. If it does, I'm shutting it down. Oh, what the heck. I'm going to turn it off now. Okay. So far, so good, people. Everything is going according to Hoyle, according to plan. And I hope my friends at Powertrain Products are enjoying this video. But my target audience is not a large audience. It's enthusiasts, automotive enthusiasts, Astro van enthusiasts, early 4.3 liter V6 engine enthusiasts. People race these engines too. They love this little power plant. But other people like the power of the V8. And I would have done the V8 swap, but it was just too expensive. I couldn't justify it. And I don't need that much power to haul avocados and tropical fruit, carambola, lychee, black sapote. I just need something that is reliable. But in the future, if this video series gets popular, maybe people around the state will contact me and buy my fruit and give me a decent price, because I can't get a decent price here in Southeast Florida. They lowball me, and there's nothing I can do, because you know, it takes time and money to get the fruit picked and transported. But I'm not certified organic, but I am organic. And the difference between certified organic and is huge, because the certified organic requires large farms, and those are going the way of the buggy whip. Southeast Florida urban sprawl is just consuming the farmland and grow in huge tracts. I mean 50, 100 acres at a time or more. And we lost 10,000 acres to Everglades National Park a few years ago, an area they called Hole in the Donut, because they said it was polluting the bay and killing the reef. So they bought the land, no farming there, and yet we still have the decimation of the reefs, and it's just because the climate is warming. And I'm not a fan of man-made climate. You know, God does his work, and we have to honor God. Praise the Lord. And praise the Lord. And we get trials in there, and it's in God's hands, so we don't need to worry about the climate. Yeah, it's hot. Open a window, and you know, is it going to get a whole lot hotter in my lifetime or the next 3 lifetimes? You know, everything's cyclic. So, you know, over time, it's cooled, it's warmed. Right now, we're in a warming period, and what human behavior has nothing to do with it. Nothing. Nothing. We couldn't change the climate if we tried, except they did do something called warp. But you can listen to Coast Radio. They'll tell you all about warp and why the governments around the world stop doing it until the next war breaks out. Then they'll use it. Enough of the rant, people. Thumbs up if you like it. If you don't like it, go to another channel. I don't like any thumbs down. I'm putting a lot of effort to do these videos. So enjoy. I hope you find something interesting. Dennis John Sietsma Productions, Homestead, Florida. It's the 1st of October, and I'm not really an advocate of do-it-yourself work because you can get hurt, and I've known people almost get killed working on cars, and car fell on them, and I've known people that have lost both their legs, you know, or broken their legs working on a car. Very dangerous stuff, man. And yeah, you got to know the safety stuff, and it's beyond the scope of this video to try to teach safety. Way beyond the scope. So do-it-yourself work is done at your own risk, or take it somewhere and have it done. But at least you'll have an understanding and a comprehension if you watch my videos, what you're paying for and how it might be done. I'm not saying how it should be done, because I make a lot of mistakes, but then I have to recover from them, so I try to keep them minimal. It's at your own risk, people, if you do-it-yourself work. And some people are not at all enamored with the idea of the do-it-yourself movement. Oh, those stupid people watch YouTube and think they know what they're doing. And, you know, do-it-yourself stuff has its critics. Not everybody's cool with it. But I'm doing what I do, and hope you are benefiting in some way from it. Thanks for watching. Next segment. Okay, it's the afternoon of October 1st. It's around 5 o'clock. I don't know the exact time. But I put more coolant in till it wouldn't take any more. Then started the engine and waited for it to warm up to where it is right now. That's where the thermostat's open. Now, the coolant level in the throat of the radiator was down a little bit until the thermostat opened. And right before it opened, the level came way up. And then it opened, and then the level went way down, and I had to add more. And you see now, the trapped air in the system is being burped out. And for efficient cooling, this is what you want. A lot of people don't talk about the burping process in a cooling system, but it's essential. You see the level going way down, and then when the thermostat closes, it'll come up again. But you want to make sure that all the air is out of there, otherwise your cooling system won't be efficient. Only after you have it burped and the level stays more or less stable, looking down the throat. When it's stable, that's when you can put the radiator cap on and feel confident about the situation. And there is supposed to be an exchange between the radiator and the coolant recovery tank as the engine comes up to operating speed or cools down to whatever the ambient temperature is. So I hope this is interesting and informative. I need to put more in there. I'm going to pause the camera. But the idle has stabled out pretty good. Now that it's been running for 5-10 minutes, the powertrain control module, the PCM, is able to learn from the sensors, looking at the O2 level and the temperature and the ambient temperature, the air intake temperature. All these different statistics are constantly monitored by the computer and adjusted for optimum fuel use. So, and if I turned it off now, it would come gushing out. So I don't want to turn it off until I've topped it off and then put the radiator cap on. And it's been this way on most closed cooling systems on, you know, automotive engines for a long time. But this is something that people don't know in general unless somebody's informed them about burping and getting all the air out of the cooling system. And then you take it in out for service. Oh, it's overheating. So, and the guy doing the service, he knows, because he does it all the time. Anyway, I'm going to pause the camera and top off the coolant and then put the radiator cap on and check for any leaks. And I found the clamp for those power, the oil cooler lines, the external cooler and the radiator. I found the clamp, so I'll put that on once everything cools down. It's going to take a while because I've been letting it heat up so I could do this cooling system process. And I got it supported by jacks and the 3-ton jack, plus the wheels are chalked and the emergency brake is on. I'm going to pause the camera. Okay, well, the coolant level's coming up and down as the thermostat opens and closes. So I'm at the point now where I feel confident I can put the radiator cap on and say she good. And the coolant recovery tank ought to take care of it after that, as long as we have no leaks. Now, as far as leaks go, I don't see any, but you never know, right? You got to check and double check, and especially, you know, the first 500 miles or so. Okay, the coolant level came up again. Now, the reason I didn't have to change the thermostat is the thermostat is in the upper intake manifold plenum, and that didn't swap with the engine. I set that aside. The upper intake and lower intake, those were set aside until I had swapped out the engine. And I'm not at the point where I'm going to say that this engine's fully installed. I still have a few more things to do, but I have more errands to run tomorrow. The errands today took me more time than I wanted them to, and I didn't get them all done, so I need to do more tomorrow. And I've got some activities in the grove. I was going to pick fruit, but the van's not quite ready yet, and I have more to do. So I'm going to push off picking fruit until Thursday, which today is October 1st, tomorrow is the 2nd, that'll be October 3rd, will be Thursday, and then I'll pick fruit and take it to the packing house, assuming I get all this finished. But I think this is the last segment for today. I don't think I'm going to do any more. I may change my mind and crawl under there after sunset and work on that clamp, so it's a done thing, but I may not. I got some work I got to do on the computer, and I don't want to talk about that. So thanks for watching. Thumbs up if anything interesting here. Dennis Seetsma, Dennis John Seetsma Productions, Homestead, Florida. This is a documentary. This is not a how-to. Do-it-yourself work can result in death or injury. So if you do do-it-yourself work, inspired by what you see me doing, do it at your own risk. And it's beyond the scope of this production to teach safety. I may mention safety, but in passing, but it's assumed that anybody doing do-it-yourself work is well versed in safety procedures or anything they might try to be doing. So, thanks for watching. Signing off for today, I think.